cruise lines are facing a rebellion they never saw coming. Here's what's actually happening. Right now, passengers are marching straight to guest services before they've even unpacked and demanding one thing: remove the automatic gratuities. We're not talking about isolated complaints or a handful of budget travelers. We're talking entire embarkation days where guest services agents watch passenger after passenger opt out of a system the industry has relied on for decades. So why the sudden revolt? What changed in 2025 that made this explode? And here's the uncomfortable truth. When passengers refuse to pay, who actually suffers? On today's episode, we're investigating the gratuity crisis shaking the cruise industry. Number 1, the price increases that broke trust. Cruise lines have been raising gratuities for years, but 2025 crossed a line nobody expected. Disney Cruise Line hit passengers with a $3.75 daily increase for concierge guests, bringing the rate to $27.25 per day. A family of 4 on a 7-night cruise now pays $762 in gratuities alone. Royal Caribbean added 50 cents in November 2024. Norwegian now charges $25 daily for Haven passengers. Even Margaritaville at Sea jumped $2 per person in February 2025. For a regular family of 4 on a standard 7-night cruise, you're looking at $448 on Carnival, $518 on Royal, or $560 on Norwegian. That's more than most families budget for shore excursions. Norwegian's 2023 increase was a 25% jump overnight. Pro tip: calculate total gratuities before booking by multiplying daily rate times passengers times nights. Onboard phrase: can you show me the exact daily gratuity rate for my cabin category? These aren't tips anymore. They're mandatory fees with better marketing. Number 2. Celebrities' transparency that backfired. Celebrity Cruises thought transparency would build trust when they sent passengers a detailed breakdown in January 2025. They revealed 60.1% goes to dining staff, 28.8% to housekeeping, and the rest covers other services. Instead of appreciation, social media exploded with comments like "translation, pay our staff's wages while thinking it's a tip," and "this proves we're subsidizing their payroll." The viral response: if cruise staff isn't being paid a living wage, why is that the passenger's burden? Celebrity's breakdown confirmed what everyone suspected. Automatic gratuities don't reward excellent service. They fund basic wages cruise lines should already be paying. Pro tip: Princess pools gratuities fleet-wide, meaning your cabin steward's tip might go to Alaska passengers months later, and they deduct credit card fees first. Onboard phrase: where exactly does my gratuity money go, and can you show me the distribution breakdown? Transparency confirmed every passenger's worst nightmare about who really benefits. Number 3. The Virgin Voyages betrayal. Virgin Voyages built their brand on one revolutionary promise: all gratuities included, no hidden fees, no catch. On September 25th, 2025, Virgin's CEO announced they were abandoning that promise. Starting October 7th, gratuities would unbundle into a separate $20 per person per night charge. They claimed passengers wanted transparency and clarity. Veteran cruisers saw through it immediately. Virgin didn't make this change because passengers demanded it. They did it because travel agents and booking sites made their honest, all-inclusive fares look more expensive than competitors showing artificially low base rates. Pro tip: when comparing cruise prices, always add gratuities, beverage packages, and specialty dining to the base fare. Onboard phrase: what's the total out-the-door price, including all mandatory fees? Even cruise lines built on philosophical opposition to hidden fees eventually conform to industry norms. Number 4. What crew members are secretly saying. Multiple crew members, both current and former, overwhelmingly prefer cash over automatic gratuities. One former Royal Caribbean waiter explained he could earn €100 in cash on a normal sailing with his best cruise, bringing €650 total. But here's what matters. He said cash felt like extra money while automatic gratuities felt like salary. Another crew member put it directly: cash tips help tremendously, but being mentioned by name in post-cruise surveys matters even more. Why would crew value a survey mention more than pooled gratuities? Because personal recognition earns them a day off, free internet, specialty meals, or Employee of the Month nominations. Pro tip: bring singles and fives in cash. That $5 bill you hand your bartender goes straight into their pocket, untaxed and unshared. Onboard phrase: I wanted to personally thank you for exceptional service. Then hand cash directly. When automatic gratuities disappear into corporate systems, crew lose the human connection that makes service meaningful. Number 5. The wage system cruise lines hide. This is the part cruise lines definitely don't want exposed, and it changes everything. A 2012 undercover investigation revealed an assistant waiter's promised $1,110 monthly salary was amended to $710, with the difference made up by automatic gratuities. Cruise law attorneys report some crew positions receive as little as $2 per day in base wages. Royal Caribbean allegedly paid waiters only $50 monthly salaries for years, with the remaining 95% coming from passenger gratuities. Automatic gratuities aren't adding to crew earnings, they're completing them. Cruise lines structure wages so tips fulfill contractual obligations instead of supplementing base pay. You're not tipping, you're directly paying someone's salary. Pro tip: no cruise line will disclose actual crew salaries separately from tip distribution. The silence is deafening. Onboard phrase: what percentage of crew wages comes from the cruise line versus passenger gratuities? And the numbers prove this rebellion is getting bigger by the day. Number 6. The numbers proving critical mass. About 10% of passengers currently remove automatic gratuities, but that number is climbing fast. One passenger reported standing in the guest services line on embarkation day, where 8 of the 9 parties ahead of him were removing gratuities. They hadn't even sailed yet. They were removing them on principle. Reddit and Facebook cruise groups are normalizing the practice, with respected community members openly discussing removal strategies. First-time cruisers typically pay without question, but experienced cruisers who cruise multiple times yearly are increasingly refusing. These aren't random cheapskates. These are veteran cruisers who remember when gratuities were lower, truly voluntary, and hadn't been rebranded as crew appreciation. Pro tip: every cruise line allows gratuity removal. Go to guest services and request it without giving a reason. Onboard phrase: I'd like to remove the automatic gratuities from my account, please. But here's where it gets wild. The rest of the world already solved this problem. Number 7. How Australia proved America is getting played. Most of the world doesn't deal with automatic gratuities at all, and their crew aren't starving. Australia completely rejected automatic gratuities when P&O Cruises Australia abolished them in 2010 after sustained passenger complaints. Today, tipping is completely optional on Australian-based ships while crew receive fair base wages. Royal Caribbean includes service charges in the cruise fare for Australian bookings. Same ships, same crew, same destinations. But Australian passengers pay higher advertised fares and never see a separate gratuity charge. If cruise lines can include gratuities in Australian fares without making cruises unaffordable, why can't they do it everywhere? The UK followed the same path with P&O Cruises UK, including gratuities with positioning that's brilliant. Exceptional service is our promise, not an expectation. Pro tip: when cruise lines claim they can't include gratuities without making cruises unaffordable, Australia and the UK prove that's false. Onboard phrase: why are gratuities included for Australian bookings but not American ones? Now here's what you should actually do with this information. Number 8. The Smart Cruiser's Strategy. Removing automatic gratuities is your legal right, but it's not cruise line executives who suffer. It's your cabin steward away from family for 8 months. Here's the recommendation from dozens of crew members. Leave the automatic gratuities on, but bring cash. Lots of singles and fives. Hand money directly to people who serve you exceptionally well, because that $5 bill goes straight into their pocket, unpooled and unshared. Even better? Learn crew names, use them constantly, and mention them by name in your post-cruise survey. Those survey mentions can earn crew promotions, bonuses, days off, and recognition that matters more than pooled money ever could. Pro tip: if you object to automatic gratuities on principle, remove them but replace them with equivalent cash distributed directly. Onboard phrase: I noticed crew name went above and beyond. How do I make sure they're recognized? The worst thing you can do? Remove gratuities to save money and give nothing. Number 9. The hidden costs of rebellion. When gratuity removal becomes widespread, cruise lines respond with operational changes that hurt everyone. They increase base fares to compensate for lost revenue. They reduce crew staffing levels, meaning longer wait times. They cut training budgets, leading to less experienced staff. Norwegian Cruise Line has already implemented non-removable service charges on certain bookings, and other lines are watching to see if passengers accept it. Here's the uncomfortable reality. The gratuity rebellion might make things worse for both passengers and crew. When passengers remove gratuities en masse, cruise lines don't suddenly start paying fair wages. They find new ways to extract the same money through higher base prices while reducing service quality. Pro tip: watch for service charges versus gratuities in booking terms. Service charges are often non-removable and go directly to the cruise line. Onboard phrase: are these listed as gratuities or service charges, and what's the difference? And that brings us to what's really driving this. Number 10. The trust crisis behind everything. The 2025 gratuity controversy isn't about money, it's about trust, and cruise lines have only themselves to blame. Passengers don't trust that automatic gratuities actually benefit crew as claimed. They don't trust pricing that unbundles every cost to make base fares look artificially low. And they don't trust an industry that calls mandatory fees gratuities to preserve the illusion of voluntary tipping. Cruise lines could solve this tomorrow by including crew compensation in base fares like Australian and UK markets demand. They could disclose actual crew wages separately from gratuity income. They could stop raising gratuities by dollars at a time while claiming it's inflation adjustment. But they won't, because the competitive advantage of advertising $299 cruises while hiding $500 in mandatory fees is too valuable to give up. Pro tip: the cruise industry's gratuity model is reaching a breaking point. Whether it leads to reform or more people hurting crew remains to be seen. Onboard phrase: why can't crew compensation be included in the base fare like it is in Australia? Passengers and crew both lose while cruise lines defend an increasingly indefensible system. And here's the thing: gratuities are just the beginning, because what cruise lines are doing with onboard spending is even more shocking. So before your next cruise, watch this next video right here. It reveals exactly how these pricing games work, what charges to watch for, and how to protect your wallet before you even board the ship. See you there.